How's it, peeps? So in today's video, we will be going through custom buttons and functional buttons in Breakdance, how to keep it consistent with your brand, your colors, as well as with the email forms, email submit buttons, and forms in general within Breakdance. It's a bit finicky, but there is a way to keep everything consistent and functional, like I said. So let's head into Breakdance. What I set up is just a landing page with a header, euro section, and then that form slash enter your email for a newsletter section. We did it on a white background as well as on the darker background. So what we are going to do is we're going to add buttons, like I said. So we're going to we have a div over here. We have a column, essentially, not a div. We're just going to add the normal button that comes with Breakdown. So you will obviously have your global settings on the right that you need to set up. Mine is very basic, bare bones at the moment, but this is just an example. So what I would like, or what I usually do is I would like to set up the buttons beforehand. I usually design in Figma. You can do whatever you like, but this is just how I do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the color. What I also do is I like to add that darker color first and then the lighter color afterwards. So in this case, this lighter color might be too light, because I don't want the white to fall, the white text to fall away too much. So we just want something similar but a bit lighter. So what we can do is we can just go up a bit. I select the darker color and then I just move it up slightly. Also, what I want to do is I like to add more padding across the button. I like the buttons to be kind of bigger. So I have the example on the right. So I'm just going to quickly have a look at what I did. So we're gonna do 10 padding on top, and then I see that we have a little bit of more padding on the right. That will be like 45. So you should just keep this similar everywhere. Why does this look not right? Let's do this 20. Let's do this 24 actually. I think it's the typography that's throwing me off a bit. So let's just change the type so that it will be consistent with the typography above. I like to keep um, the typography similar everywhere so that you will stick to the brand theme and colors and brand CI and stuff like that. I tend to use, you don't want to use more than 3 fonts, I would say. Two is usually your best option. In this case, we're just going to stick with this Anek Malaysia. Okay, but that's design talk over. Okay, so we essentially have a button here. Let's just add, I want to make it a round button. I just add a 80 around it, but this button still does not look correct in my opinion. I would like there to be more spacing um, on this area. Let's make this 65, or I like to keep it even numbers. Is actually that looks better. Okay, so we don't have a button in our header. Usually would have a button in your header and then one in your hero section as well. I actually saw a video recently where that's kind of contradicting your button in the hero section. But if you have a sign up button, it's different from, let's say, this buy now button. So just keep that in consideration as well, or in mind. Okay, we have the traditional button that will be functional and be working essentially. But like I said, I want it to be something else. Let's add another effect on it. So what I also like to do is I usually go into the effects panel. I like to add a shadow, but just before you add the shadow, just click on the hover effect here and then you add the shadow. That's very important. I want a darker shadow at the bottom, but I don't want it to be like pitch black. So I'm just going to add a darker green. I don't want any blur on this. And then let's make this 8. and let's make this 4. So when you hover on it, you have this cool effect that you can do as well with your button. Always remember to save, and this is what I usually do. Okay, moving on. We have the form button. It's not exactly the same. Like I said, with the form, it usually there's a bit of tweaking that you need to do. But if you get this right, you can kind of keep these two similar in some way with keeping them the same roundness. Your effect won't be visible on the front end, but let's go into the back end quickly. We have this lovely hover effect over here, and then we have just the standard hover effect. You can't do the same effect, if I'm not mistaken, with your submit button over here. I am wrong. You can do exactly the same effect. The more you know. Okay, so we have no blur. Gonna put this on 8, and we have this on 4. And then we want that darker color that I didn't copy, but it doesn't matter. You will just copy that, and then let's save this and see. I'm gonna refresh this, and we have it. There you have it. We have these two custom buttons. Okay, lovely. So, like I said, just to keep in mind that you need these two buttons to talk the same language essentially, and keep it consistent. Okay, let's go to the darker version and let's try something totally different. This is what I tend to use. Um, we'll just add a button over here and let's make it a custom button as well. We're going to do it white this time. And I want the outline. Sorry, we don't want a background there. We're going to say by now. Then I want the button to be a bit bigger. Custom, what did I say? 24, 22, and then 64, 64. Let's just try and keep it the same. Okay, there we go. And I want it to be around as well. So we have this, and then we're going to go into topography. We're going to go into the hover, and we're going to make this dark green. I'm going to go back into topography, and I just like it to be a bit thicker. And I'm going to make this 1.2 rem, a bit bigger. There we go. So you have this as well. I tend to use the outline button like this as a sub button, meaning that it shouldn't pull too much attention to it. But if you hover over it, there is some effect that you have. You can do exactly the same as we did above here with this hover effect, a shadow effect down here. But in this case, I just want to keep it simple. And the way I usually keep it simple is this is a bit more advanced than just using what Breakdance is giving you. I tend to go into the advanced section and then I'm going to add a new class. You're going to add this new button class and then we're going to do some custom CSS. I have the code in my notepad over here. Just copy and pasting it. If you would like to copy it, here is the code. And what you have is this lovely hover effect that jumps up a bit slightly. So I'm just going to show it again. You have this standard, just hover with it. And then if you add the class, you have this. So additionally, what you can do in Breakdance, if you don't want to go into the CSS route, what you can do is you can go into custom, you can go into effects, and then you go on to hover. Then you just want to add a slight hover on it, but this is going to be too big. Just be careful not to have it too overwhelming. So what I tend to do is I just do it 1.5 so that it grows just a slight bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the front end, sorry. Just going to refresh the page, and then you have this growing effect as well. But like I said, I tend not to use this as much, the growing thing. I feel like it's too cliche in my opinion. Um, so I'm just gonna Control Z that and go back into the class and paste the code, and we need to add the new button class on it. And I'm gonna save it, and then we're gonna go into this front end and we're gonna refresh the page. And now you have this slight hover up effect that I really like. These are the main buttons I stick to and do. I keep it simple because if you do it over, if you make it too complicated and overwhelming, people will get confused, and we need to keep everything consistent. I think that's just a good design and UI design tip in general. I hope you guys found this video helpful and insightful. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and give me some support in the comments or something like that so that I know I'm on the right track here. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and keep on designing quality stuff. Yeah, have a good one. Cheers.